think it's undervalued, or if you don't acknowledge it, then you start feeling, then you don't recognize the strength in it, right? So I'm screen sharing with you right now because I want to open up my notes here. Hold on. Where we go? Okay. So the reason I kind of talked about some of that is, kind of this mindset shift that I'm taking you through right away. I mean, you kind of bought in, you kind of got that right away, right? So, it's like, right? So, it can add, right, levels of stress that can keep me motivated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or can, can cripple me, right? It's the difference between a freshman that joins varsity but can't handle the pressure of being so young playing at a varsity level versus after a year or two in the freshman JV, they've built up confidence and skills to be able to make that leap, right? So this conscientiousness, and for you as a student athlete, it's just as important. It's just harder, right? So in being a student athlete, it's awesome. It's just harder because I have to be more. I have to manage a couple things differently, right? I have to manage my time differently. I have to manage my weekends differently. And, and for example, if my goal is to be a high performing student athlete, then I'm looking at honor roll, right? And I'm looking at varsity. This is high school, right? So I'm looking at the relationship between A's and B's and being a starting player on a varsity team. That's cool. I mean, that's like the best scenario. It doesn't, but with that is, increased stress and accountability. But that's fine. It's just, in doing this, okay, I recognize that. Okay, I'm recognizing there's more accountability because now I'm like a leader in the school, a leader on the team, whatever. I get thrown onto a team where we play in 25-degree weather, and I have to either rise to that challenge or I'm a victim of the weather. In your case, you weren't. You actually performed best in the team. So even under the pressure of inclement weather, you seem to rise to the challenge, right? So same mindset in the classroom, and that's what you and I are working on, right? So managing the weekend. So in your case, right away, it hit home with you about how a planner, right? The planner and its purpose. It's really about tracking assignments, but not just tracking assignments, it's tracking time. Because I'm busy, right? I have actually things that I'm trying to do. And so the planner allows me to balance school, right? Versus free time versus, whatever sports commitments I have going on. And the planner's a place where I make decisions. I get to pick. I get to choose. I'm not a victim of time. I can make my own decisions based on when I want to get things done. And the planner also helps fend off things like, right, this is huge. Like a lot of kids will say, I forgot, right? It fends off excuses like that because what ends up doing, so these are just excuses that can become chronic with kids, with anybody. It can be an adult issue as well. It's nothing to do with being a student. It's just what are the stuff I'm trying to manage? Well, if I'm not managing classes or my schoolwork well enough, then the excuse will be that I forgot. Well, it's not really, sometimes it's true, right? Sometimes it's true, but sometimes it can be that I didn't even look, right? I didn't forget. I just never looked. I never looked on Google Classroom. So the planner gives me a sense of accountability, right? It fends off laziness in certain kids, right? It gives me a sense of accountability because sometimes I might be even so lazy. Not lazy is kind of like a derogatory term. It's just, I just might ignore what I might have to do. Right? And just ignoring is simply, I just don't give it the attention that I should, because I don't see it, out of sight, out of mind. Right? So, right, the planner gives me, it gives me a chance to make decisions about the work I need to do, right? And, or want to do. For example, I need to do homework. I want to study. Why do I want to study? Well, because there's no way anybody gets honor roll or high honors without studying. It doesn't happen. It's easy to get C's with very little studying. You don't have to do much of it. Most of the time, right? Super hard to be a honor roll student unless I'm creating a strong relationship around study habits, right? And that's harder. Teachers don't put into their homework assignment, study for 30 minutes, 50 minutes, 60 minutes, make flashcards, read those chapters over again. They don't do that. Studying is a personal journey. It's a personal decision around what I know and don't know. Teachers don't know that answer, right? Only the student knows that answer. But a student that's using a planner, they can make some really cool decisions around what do I want to do with my time and when do I want to do it. And that's liberating. Like you no longer feel like a victim of time. So one thing it also fends off is feeling like a victim, right? Because as a victim, I feel like I don't have control. But with a planner, it gives me control. And having control is like, oh, now it's my chance to make, to make my own decisions. As soon as I make my own decisions, I no longer feel like a victim. Does it make sense? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying you don't know as a student, you've been a student your whole life, but when you start to really jump into the high school world and it's like, there's little things I can do that can make a huge impact. Little things. And I think the planner, sometimes people don't treat it with its simplicity, just like the strokes on a golf course. Little strokes right now can make a huge difference in your game because you've brought it to a certain level, right? And the other thing you start to learn as a student is something that's, we've talked about this too briefly, but building confidence, it's like golfing. Like, my confidence is super low with golfing. What would be your recommendation? What would you say, David, for you to build your confidence as a golfer, this is what you need to do? What would you say?
Just practice, really.
That's it. It's exactly the right answer. So in terms of being a student, right, you want to practice the right strokes as a student, right? When you fail, adjust. Just like in golf, right? Like when you fail the feedback with obviously with golf is the failure is obviously in a shot that doesn't go the correct way. True. So when you fail in golf, you just adjust. You try to at least quickly look at what happened and make adjustments, right? Same with school. When I fail, I adjust. What do I need to do? I need to see the problem, right? And then come up with solutions. Make sense? So, building confidence as a student, it's like academic confidence. It really just takes the repetition of that. So example, when you bomb a test, first thing some kids will say is, "Oh, it's just because I'm dumb at math." Well, I would say, no, you just dumb. You just don't know how to be a student. Because, there are some classes that will be difficult, but just like in golf, how do you master a difficult course? Well, you have to practice that course probably more often, right?
Yeah.
Same with being a student. So when I'm faced with a difficult course, I could, I could walk off the course saying I suck at golf. But is that true?
Hmm.
No. It's not that that isn't true. It just means that that course is going to challenge me, and to overcome that challenge, I have to be more, I have to be more vigilant in how I address that course, right? I tell you about the course I played. I played up in one of the courses. I'll never forget this course. I'll have to go back there someday when I'm actually a better golfer. Is up in Saratoga. You ever played the Saratoga golf course?
I don't think I have. No.
It's beautiful. It's upstate New York. It's just a really play. It's where they do the Saratoga race horse race court track is. It's just a beautiful area, and but their course is really difficult, or I should say really difficult for me. And they had this tee that was about I felt like it was like maybe 120, maybe 150 yards. No, let's say 100 yards off the tee was this water hole, and it literally was right across the green. So there's no way, there's nothing you could do, but you had to get it over the water hole, right? And it was like a marshy, not like wasn't like a pond. It was literally like a, strip of marshland. And I 5 times I tried 5 times. I lost every one of my balls into the, so, so, so I went down to the marsh and I threw it across. I was playing with a bunch of guys, so it wasn't like I really, I didn't sign up for this course. I knew I was going to get my ass kicked, but I thought, why not? So, but the point being is my confidence as a golfer at that point was really low, and there was nothing I was going to do. I already knew that I sucked at golf, and I wasn't really there to play golf anyways. It was more just to hang out. But so you start to think about yourself as a student. You start to think about these. You start thinking about not as in success or failure. You just think about it in terms of problems and solutions, right? So when you're golfing, you don't think about your game in terms of success and failures. You think about it in terms of, good strokes and bad strokes, right? Problems or solutions. So
Yeah, definitely.
as a student, it's the same game. What's the problem? The problem is I missed those 3 questions on that math test. Oh, okay. So what's the solution? Well, I go to that teacher after class and I go through those problems. Why? Well, because I want to know what I should have done differently. That's the stroke analysis. I want to know through either video or feedback what was wrong with my stroke, so that when I approach that hole again, or when those problems come up on another test or whatever, I now have the solution. Right? So the feedback is really about problems and solutions. So, and then you can make corrections, just like a stroke, if I know what the problem is. And the more times I practice that, the stronger my confidence gets. Make sense? So
Yeah.
we're really just digging into this, but the confidence is built over time with practice. But that academic confidence is built through just like golf. Like, the only way you get better at golf is practicing, but in practicing, you're failing a lot, or you're analyzing failure, right? Because every time you make a stroke and it doesn't go exactly the way you wanted it, that's a failure or a moment to look at the problem and think of the solution. And in that journey, you're not really overly critical of yourself. You're kind of even enjoying the process. So as a student, you come to that same kind of quiet or sweet spot in a way. So, and then, as you think about this other part of it is the goals. We haven't really tackled that in a second, but you've come across obviously right away as a conscientious student, but what ends up being really helpful too is trying to figure out where you're going, right? In golf, it's easy, right? 18 holes. I'm going to the 18th hole, right? And every hole also has a goal. It's called the par. Or it's whatever. It's whatever the par 2, par 3, par 4. That ends up being the goal. So I can either surpass that goal by shooting under par, right, or miss the goal, shooting over par, right? So academically, same thing. So I want to have kind of a benchmark within each class around what I'm trying to achieve. So let's have some fun with this for a second, okay? Write down some of your class. You got math, you got a science class, you got a history class, right? You have a English class, right? And you have what are you doing for language?
Latin.
Dude, you're taking Latin? Oh, you want to talk about failure? You and I should. I'll just share you some horror stories with Latin. Man, you probably love Latin. I'm probably talking to the wrong person. I need a therapist to talk about my Latin journey with. Let's just say I never built my confidence with Latin. It was an ongoing battle that I just lost. I took way too many years of Latin. Okay, so yeah, let's think about this. So goals can fall in different categories as a student, but I'll throw out some categories here. Let's talk about just simply grades. What would be some fun goals to set for yourself for each class?
In math, I feel like a good goal would be like anywhere in the B range or above.
Cool.
Just because math is one of the subjects that I kind of struggle with.
Nice.
Or not really struggle. I definitely have to work a lot harder than in other subjects.
Yeah. That's pretty typical. You know, you have one or two classes that will maybe push you more than another, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. Science.
Science is the one upper standard class I'm taking, so an A or above, definitely.
Okay. A minus or above.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. So a B is what? 85.
Yeah.
All right. And an A minus is a 90.
Yep.
Cool. History.
I'd say like a B plus or above. I'd be happy with.
Awesome. Okay. All right. B plus about 87, 88.
Mm-hmm. And then the same with English.
Okay. Nice. And let's get some. All right. And then Latin.
Latin, probably the same as science. It's a pretty easy class.
Okay. You're one of them. Okay. Cool. So, other benchmarks when you think about goals in terms of classes, so this is like data, right? This is like quantifying data. There's two ways of looking at information. You can quantify it, meaning I'm using numbers, or I can analyze information. To qualify it means I'm using descriptives, right? I'm using descriptive terminology, or I'm using non-number related variables to explain something or to explain progress in certain things. So when you think about these classes, we have the data of things, but you may have another area that you want to use to address a goal, right? So is there something else that comes to mind as it relates to each class? Like for math, is there another kind of goal that you would have in mind for math?
I'm trying to think. I mean, if a goal that for next term maybe because it's almost the end of first term is like if I don't understand something, go after school to ask for help because I feel like I should have done that a couple times this term.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a real empowering goal. Really empowering, right? Because that's the opposite of being a victim, right? A victim would be like, I don't understand this. I can't understand this, so I'm not even going to bother to try. Right? The other flip of that would be like, well, what's the empowerment of that? Well, I'm not really understanding this yet. So I'm really trying to be a B student or higher, and to kind of get there, I might need another strategy. Or in terms of like golf clubs, right? There's a reason why golfers don't walk around with one club. Because, they understand the game of golf, and they understand the game of golf involves dynamic positions on the green that warrant different strategies to get to the hole. It's the same thing as being a student, right? So there's different strategies, different tools I'm going to want to have in my golf bag as a student. So one of them being, and this may obviously go to other classes as well, but this is a great one for math though, right? Because 10 extra minutes with a teacher one-on-one, and all of a sudden, bam, everything I didn't know, I now know really well.
Mm-hmm.
What about science?
I feel like this term I haven't really struggled with science, to be honest. I feel like it's just organization. Just like a couple of other of my classes, a few missed assignments have really been the only thing that has hurt my grade.
Okay. So I said, so organization of missed assignments. So to fend off missing assignments. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, it can be a really big deal because if my goal is an A minus or higher, how many assignments can I afford to miss?
Not many.
Yeah, like so many not many's that you're kind of like at this zero.
Yeah.
I can miss so many assignments that it's kind of around zero, and that's that can raise the stress level because you've just raised your own accountability. And if I don't have the right tools or strategies to manage that level of accountability, then I'm going to feel that stress intensely because I'm going to realize that I'm walking onto the tee to tee off, and there's clubs missing and people looking at me waiting for me to tee off, and now there's like and I can't because I don't have the right club. Yet I want to tee off, right? It's like this. Okay, now I'm stuck,
Yeah.
right? And that being stuck with the accountability and the desire and the motivation, it's like this kind of perfect storm. So the organization, and you're using the word organization, I will say even more specifically a plan.
Yeah.
Right, because in that you really just your planner becomes like your organizational strategy as you've described it. There's organizing a backpack, but I think you're thinking something deeper than that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what else is coming to mind? This is cool, man. Like I didn't no idea what you were going to answer with these questions when it came to like non-grade level stuff. Everybody has a different answer. You just got to know yourself a little bit and take some, and be honest. History?
So for both history and English, I haven't missed too many assignments. Only like one, I think, or two, maybe for each. But I've gotten a couple bad grades on some like essays or in writing assignments. So I think I should have like someone else read my essays before I turn them in. I've had like another person read them.
Yeah, that's really cool. So you say kind of like an editor,
Yeah.
well, to be specific, it would be like a last phase editor, right? So it's like, which is super hard to do if I don't have a plan to get a paper done early enough.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? So
yeah,
love this goal. I mean, you are saying something that is usually something that's left for me to say. And that is, if you want to get an A on every paper, just give it to an editor before you submit it.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, I mean, you're guaranteed to at least not get a C, but probably get at least a half a letter grade, if not a whole letter grade, better because you had someone else's eyes on a paper. They're not maybe analyzing it for content because they don't know about the French and Indian War, but they do know enough to make sure that whatever you are saying is you're saying it accurately, or at least with the right grammar and context. So that's awesome. I think that's a powerful goal. That would be a game changer, not just in high school, but college as well. Who's your editor? You have somebody in mind?
Well, it's been my mom really, but I think I might use maybe another student in my class, one of my friends, to look over my paper.
Yeah, honestly, I would even challenge. I would go back on that. I said, a parent, someone that's graduated, has graduated as a degree more than you, is sometimes a good rule of thumb, right? Someone that's passed in more papers than you have, or has achieved higher level of academic status than you, would be an editor that would at least add the value you're looking for. So that can be a sister in college that, that you trust, sibling or something like that. Or honestly, a parent is really, a parent you trust, meaning I have a parent that's a good writer.
Yeah.
Or I used to rely on my aunt. She was an English teacher. And, I used to send her my papers. And I gave her enough time to just look them over and edit them for me. But she was like my my editor during college. So you build that relationship with someone. Even family's ideal because you don't really feel like it's a total burden for them, because they're kind of in your corner as a as a support person, and it's family, so it can be less burdensome. But if it's a friend, then the friend, you'd have to say with a high level of trust that they're a better writer than you, which is always kind of a big deal. So that's cool. Love it. All right, English, or is it same with English?
Yeah, same thing.
Cool. Okay. Last but not least, Latin.
I have a 90 in Latin right now. I feel like I haven't missed an assignment. I feel like I've pretty much got my goal this term.
Okay.
One thing I guess it could be organization, because I haven't missed an assignment, but I've had to deal with the morning of a couple of times.
Okay. And then you can kind of say, cool. Ever done something like this before?
No, I haven't.
Okay, cool. Is this neat?
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, it's cool. I think it really gives anybody, especially especially someone like yourself, a real focus. Which is sometimes life can be too ambiguous. You know what ambiguous means? Ooh, did I give you a new English word?
Open to more interpretation.
Yes, Google, correct. Yeah, ambiguous is like, sometimes when life is too ambiguous, I can get lost in the confusion around what to do and how to do it. Right? And I think that's why people love golf, because it's not ambiguous. And the parts that are ambiguous are left to be conquered, because that's the development of the skills of the course, right? The ambiguity of fine-tuning, the strokes versus not knowing which direction to go at the end of a tee. Well, no, they solved that problem by giving you a map. Right? Even though I don't know what I'm talking about. Every time I go down every time I'm on the golf cart, driving down the little road, I'm always getting lost. I'm like, which direction? I see a left or right. It's always the one people that have practiced golfing more than me. They just follow the next tee. Do you see the number, David? Follow the number, David. Oh, all right. But I think that so ambiguity can add stress. So when we realize that, we can develop a stronger awareness around, okay, well, how do I bring, what is the opposite of ambiguity? It's predictability. Right? How do I bring greater predictability into my life? Well, part of it is trying to have a clearer picture around what I'm trying to do, right? That's just academically, but we think about other, kind of, life goals. I'm not really going to say life goals. I'll just say life, skills. Like there's ambiguity around, a lot of kids will have ambiguity around morning time, and starting to, I think it's, we haven't, I don't know what your answer will be to this, but when we think about morning time, we think about a morning schedule, right? And this can really be powerful because sometimes we don't know what our mornings look like because we haven't really taken ownership of it, right? And it's pretty refreshing when you start to realize, oh yeah, I can see your point, David. When I start to realize what I look like versus how, what I really look like versus how I want to look, right? So I start to, a lot of high school kids, okay, well, now that you kind of you're at a place where accountability matters. I have these goals, I have these standards. Managing the morning determines everything. It's so big. Why? Because it sets the tone for everything else. We can't underestimate that. It's why when you walk onto a golf course, there's etiquette to how I walk onto a golf course on the first tee, right? There's a schedule to that. Same with life when I think about mornings. So, there's a flow to it. So I start making decisions, right, that are my own, right? When to get up, right? There's like in the flow of that, and you start thinking about what does my morning look like, right? And that's a big deal. It's like some kids that can struggle with that. They wake up 5 minutes before their first class. And by the way, I'm talking about college kids, not even high school, or they sleep right through it because they've never practiced how to manage a morning schedule before. Right. So, did your mornings go pretty well for you?
Yeah, I wake up at like 7:30, and my classes start at 8.
Yep.
So I should probably work on waking up a little earlier because usually I don't get something to eat. And my parents usually have to wake me up because I sleep through my alarm, or yeah.
Yeah. So, again, it kind of goes to this word that you said, organization, right? But more importantly, it's just, making a plan, that matches how I want to feel in the morning, right? So that's, it's pretty straightforward as you described. So, like, I just make decisions, and the decisions can matter to me. So I'm saying, okay, there's a flow to this. So let's analyze one scenario here. Okay, we may revise this because I'm going to go through. You're going to throw in answers, and then we may shift things around a little bit, right? Because we're designing a golf course right here, but we're going to tweak it after we kind of come up with a rough draft. Okay, so if I were to make a decision around a time to get up that would be ideal, what would that be?
I would say 7.
Okay, cool. All right, and if I thought about a flow, so a flow to a morning means, okay, I get up, and then I kind of start to see a roadmap around what the morning flow would be, right? A series of kind of tasks or things I want to get done before I transition into kind of school or onto Zoom or out the door, whatever it is. What comes to mind?
Well, first, probably like making my bed, and then like showering and like brushing my teeth and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so shower, right? Sometimes that happens both. Sometimes people just do their brush your teeth after everything else,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what else?
Breakfast.
Yeah, cool.
I haven't been eating lately, and I've been pretty hungry during school. So, and then make sure that I have everything ready to go for school, like all my books and my bag ready.
Yeah. Okay. What time do you have to be out the door? Or what time do you have to be? Yeah, probably two scenarios, right? Out the door versus on a Zoom call.
Yeah, I'd have to leave around 7:40 to go to school.
Okay. And then what's the other scenario?
I get my room ready for Zoom. Get my desk all organized and ready.
What time's that start?
8 o'clock too. Right.
8?
Zoom and
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Now, is your Zoom classes kind of back to back?
We have a 10-minute break in between each.
Okay, cool. So in that transition, can that help you set up for the next class?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Is there a schedule that
Mm-hmm.
pretty consistent?
Yes. Well, yeah.
Give me a rundown, just so I have it.
Well, on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, we have 3 classes, and they're all an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay,
with
is
10-minute
it the same
breaks.
class at the same time? Like, can I write down math, science, English kind of?
Yeah, math is Monday and Thursday at 10:50.
Okay. All right. English.
English is on Tuesday and Friday at 10:50.
All right.
Science is on Tuesday and Friday at 8.
Okay, at 8.
And then English.
Oh wait, English we have.
Or sorry, history.
History.
Is at 9:25 on Mondays and Thursdays. Oh,
Right.
sorry. English is 9:25 too. No, that's my bad.
Okay.
I also have a study class, but
Wait,
yeah.
so what? Wait, history was Tuesday, Friday? No.
Monday, Thursday.
Monday, Thursday. Okay.
And then on Wednesdays we have every single class, but they're 30-minute segments.
Okay. And does that order change?
No, they're all the same. Like, well, the times change. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. But does the order change?
No.
All right. What's the order?
Science.
Yeah.
Or okay. So it goes out Latin,
What did you get?
history,
Yeah.
math, science, English, and then my study.
Your last one's a study?
Yeah.
That's brutal. The last thing I'd want to do in that class is study right there.
Actually, it's actually pretty good. We get to do our homework. That's
Oh, that's good. You feel motivated still at that point?
not really.
What's the so when I missed Latin? When's Latin fall into this?
Oh, sorry. Latin is on Mondays and Thursdays at 8:00.
Okay. So, all right. What we're trying to find is we're trying to find the consistency here in the chaos of inconsistency, right? So we're trying to bring order to chaos by trying to look for patterns, okay? So I don't want to do that. Why? Well, because that gives us a sense of control, right? So once we start to kind of figure that out, we can start to feel like, make better, we can see the picture better, right? So on Mondays I have this going on, right? So Monday, Tuesdays I'm crushing Latin first thing, and then that jumps into what did I do? I took science out of there. Why did I do that? Wait a minute. So Mondays, what's 10:50? Why is 10:50 here? Is that supposed to be 9:50? No.
No. History is in front of math on Mondays.
History
And
is
Thursdays.
okay. History is in front of math. All right.
Yeah.
And then English.
Science is the first one on Tuesdays and Fridays, and then
Okay.
English, and then study.
English study. And where's math goes where?
Math is where it is.
So math is, oh, I see. Okay. Now you missing another 10:50 class?
Yeah, my study.
That's your study. Okay, cool. All right. So we got a study, and that's 10:50 on Tuesday or Monday. No, on
Tuesday, Friday.
Tuesday, Friday. Okay. All right, cool. Oh, it's your last class again, huh? Okay. All right, so we haven't talked about. We'll talk about how to utilize study, but that's an opportunity that can knock every day, and we can either ignore it or capitalize on it, right? Do you know when your office hours are for extra help?
Yes, 2 to 15 to 2:45.
Every class?
Yeah.
2 to 2:45?
Mhm.
And how do you plan for that? Like, is that By invitation only, by appointment?
No, you can show up whenever you want.
Oh, okay. Really?
Yeah. I would probably email them before in advance, but yeah, you don't necessarily have to.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So I just jumped down a rabbit hole, but most importantly is set up for Zoom classes at what time? What time do you want to be setting up for Zoom classes?
Um, Hopefully, I want to be ready like at 7:50 or yeah 7:50.
All right. Cool. All right. So this is huge. So what you've done is you've kind of created a roadmap, game plan, kind of even if you think about it, even like kind of a checklist of what my morning looks like if I started to organize my time. By the way, this is badass right here about making your bed. When you think about just like the simplicity of that, it's just you're never going to be disappointed with your day if the only thing you did was make your bed. It's just, I'll send you some videos about it. It's just so cool. It's like I get up and I make my bed. It's like no matter how bad today gets, I made my bed. And it's really a mindset, but it just brings instant organization, as you've been calling it, right? To something that's really important. It's like it's my bed. As I sleep, I spend more time in there than anywhere else. So that's pretty cool. Okay, you get a shower, you brush your teeth, grab some breakfast. So this is when you think about life skills. It's like, okay, if I'm grabbing breakfast in the morning, is that a good example of me just really taking care of myself? Absolutely, right? If I get up early enough to walk downstairs, get a nice breakfast, well, what am I proving? What am I proving to myself? Well, it proves to myself that I'm getting ready for my day better than I ever have.
Yeah.
And does that feel better or worse? Well, yeah, most of the time it's going to feel better, right? So then you think of the flow of this. Does this look stressful, or does this look kind of like the opposite of stress?
Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, this is how I want my life to be. Now, I could sleep in and have someone wake me, but that's not my life. That's someone else's life that I'm being prompted through. Well, how do you know? Well, it's because I'm not getting up. Someone else is getting me up. And I think there's something very different when you start to do that on your own. And it's for you that won't be hard to do because you're just making a huge shift, and you're going to enjoy it. There are some kids that really struggle, and for various reasons. One is they're going to bed at 2 a.m. That can be another conversation. It's like, yeah, reason that because so that's the evening, right? It's all we can't ignore the evening when we talk about mornings, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
Uh-huh.
So we're talking high level stuff, but this is really like big picture. It's like, yeah, well, as a student athlete, it all comes together, but I gotta put my attention in the right place. So I can't be an effective student if I'm not really managing my mornings the right way and transitioning into the day with the right mindset, the right energy, right? The right feeling of control. Like, yeah, I got this. This day is mine because I'm treating my day. I'm starting my day off like I own it. Now, is your desk in your bedroom?
Yep.
Okay. Now, that's cool. That can help. Some kids have to move out of their bedroom. We haven't talked about that, but that may be helpful to you if you want to make that decision. But if you're in your bedroom and your bed is made, that probably creates a different atmosphere in your room than having going to your desk with like your bed looking, like you want to climb back in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So, and I think it's all symbolic, right? It all just matches. That's why this home learning is so tough, because I have to I have to shift environments to make it match how I want to feel. Well, I want to feel productive. I want to feel engaged with learning. I want to feel like an honor roll student. Well, what does that look like? Well, my environment has to be like a classroom, or it has to be like a library. It has to be remove all distractions. I got to put my phone downstairs. I got to put on, I got to get my headphones ready. I got to clear my desk of all this shit from third grade that's still sitting on it for whatever reason, because I have this I have this diorama my mom left on my bedside table that I've never thrown out. Whatever. You start to say I just got to reset my environment, and maybe that's something we'll kind of walk through next time. Is just there's some other things that we can tackle. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Um, I'm writing down a lot of notes here, man, but this is kind of like the start of this. We just start really chipping away at stuff. But so organization of home learning, right? So you're doing your work in your room. Is that final? You want to stick
Yep.
with that?
Well, yeah. I feel like I have 2 dogs downstairs and a
Yeah.
cat, and I feel like that would just be way more of a distraction than being in my room.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So doing your work in your bedroom absolutely is fine. It's just not fine if it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So that's just up to you. It's like, okay, that makes sense, David. So I can't pretend. So and so if there is a better environment, then we want to go analyze it. If this is the environment that you want to work with, then let's go for it. You just got to create a plan, right? So part of the plan is remove distractions, right? It's not even remove, it's just hide, right? And clean shit out, like whatever you got to do. Didn't matter before, it does now, right? So you think of your environment, think of your room, you're like, yeah, how's your desk? Is your desk cleared?
Not really.
So if I clear off my desk, like if I make my desk look like a library desk, will that help me? Right? So I want a place to take notes. Or I want a place for my laptop, right? Do you have 2 screens?
Just one.
Okay. So you just need your laptop?
Yep.
Okay. What else do you need on your desk?
My agenda, and then if I have whatever classes like binder or book that I'm taking.
Yeah. Textbooks? You guys still have textbooks?
Yep.
Such an old school question, I know. So what's on your desk that you would say, yeah, David, I gotta get rid of that?
I have this random box of crayons that's been there for like 3 years.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Rattle off everything that's on your desk that you would say that has to go.
Yeah, so that I just put that in the drawer actually. And then that's honestly it. It's mostly it's just my laptop, my agenda, textbooks, and then I have a pencil case.
Okay.
At the corner.
Cool. All right. How about the walls? Again, what we think about is we want to either minimize distraction or decrease, right?
Mm-hmm.
Distractions. So what would be the parallel to this on a golf course? If we were to look at a golf course in terms of minimizing distractions, what do you know happens on a golf course to do that?
To create distractions.
To minimize distractions.
Oh, to minimize distractions. Like turning off your phone, like putting it on silent so it doesn't like ring when you're backswing. Yeah, honestly, I can't really think of that too much.
I got one. Now this may not be a distraction. This may be more of like injury prevention. But do you want to tee off when there is someone still on the green in front of you?
No.
Why?
You don't want to accidentally hit them. It's rude, and you don't want them to get injured.
Sure, right. So I think there's the injury prevention, but it also I think is the distraction. I don't think it helps your swing to have someone that you're staring at in front of you. I don't know. I never really aimed for someone before, but so the also is when someone is swinging, right, and you are driving in your golf cart. The etiquette thing to do is to stop and wait for them to finish, right? So there's certain things that, in a golf course that involve just decreasing distraction while someone is focused. So you want to do that in your room. What are the stimulation in my room that I want to remove or decrease to improve focus? Right?
I think that making my bed and putting my phone downstairs would be huge, because in between every class, I jump on my phone in my bed and watch TikTok in between classes, and I feel like that I should be or could be setting up for the next class and getting ready for the next class instead of doing that.
Okay, that's awesome. That's like a huge declaration, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That will drastically, and you probably know this, if you do that for a week, that's going to drastically change your attention, and probably bring more peace and predictability in the transitions. Right? I mean, just imagine. I just think wow, you might actually be able to go to the bathroom, because I suspect that if someone's going on TikTok, they might even ignore going to the bathroom until their next class is over.
Yeah.
Or you're running downstairs and you're getting a glass of water, which is far more beneficial than I think it really allows you to quiet your mind and make thoughtful decisions in those transitions. That's a game changer, man. That's a great one. You've been giving some really good answers here. Seriously. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's so many layers of benefits just doing that. I mean, obviously, you're only there. It's only half a day, so it's lunchtime. I'll check in with people. But yeah, that's a big deal. Okay, cool. Anything else?
Not really. I feel sometimes my pets come in, and that's pretty distracting. So
Pets
maybe
keep coming up.
Yeah. Keeping my door shut.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Okay. What would be more of an enjoyable distraction? TikTok or your cat walking into your room?
My cat.
Yeah, I know. So I think it's that's at least the cat wouldn't be permanent distraction, or may actually be more therapeutic than anything. But yeah, I see your point. Okay, cool. So again, kind of from a big kind of high level conversation, this is organizing the environment so that it creates within us optimum performance. Mm-hmm. Right? That's really it. Every all these little decisions you're seeing here, these, whether it's removing distractions, decreasing distractions, as you've said, removing the phone, clearing off the desk, as you've said also, making my bed, simple decisions have layers of benefits that play out throughout the day. Really cool. I've had kids teach kids how to take power naps, and I said you can't take a power nap unless you make your bed, because your power nap would take place on the bed, and it has to be under 20 minutes. But if you climb into your covers and you close your drapes,
it's pretty hard to get
out. Right? That 20 minutes is going to turn into 2 hours, and that's not a nap. Right? Yeah. So power naps can be a big deal for a lot of high school kids, but you got to do it right, or else it just negatively impacts your sleep cycle for the night when you go to bed, for real. So stuff like that can be pretty cool conversation. So cool, man. We've touched on some stuff here, talking high level. We haven't really talked about your planner. I just didn't get to that yet, because obviously there's some the foundational stuff that we want that planner to sit on top of. So, and how that planner starts to connect the dots, right? The planner is the tool that you're going to use to manage everything, right? The goal is 30,000 feet. When you're looking at the forest, what's the forest look like? Well, this is the forest. The forest are these goals. This is what I'm trying to achieve. This is my morning routine. This matters. This is big picture stuff. Well, this is the flow of my day and how that connects the dots to how I want to feel and how I want to be managing life as a student, And we talked about problem solving, and we talked about like the building the confidence, through every problem that I face, right? Not just that, but the solutions that I start to now come up with based on the problems. That's so important, right? Staying away from any type of like, the excuses that can come up, right? They can sneak up without us even knowing it, and how the planner can fend off against all sorts of stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
So so if you and I checked in next week, I'm gonna have you screen share, okay? And we're gonna you're just gonna do a show and tell with like the process that you might go through with using your planner, with tracking assignments and stuff like that. Sound good?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and then we'll tackle whatever else might come up, because it's gonna be a new quarter, I think, right? This week, I think we transition into a new quarter.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. So your mindset is already set in the right direction right now. So this is a great opportunity to just start fresh. It's really cool. And your planner's your scorecard. It's like, how am I doing?
Yeah.
That's gonna be really cool to use that to really help see your way through things. So all right. So, and maybe we can do that. We'll use next week as a maybe I'll set it up for a half hour. Maybe we'll do 2 check-ins next week. Would you want to do that? Would that be good?
Yeah, that'd be good.
We can kind of break it up. That might be helpful. Okay, maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll check in Monday, and I'll set up one for like Monday and Thursday. That sound all right?
Yes, that sounds good.
All right, cool. I'll send out the invitation. All right, JD. Awesome chat with you, man. Hey, a scale 1 to 10.
Thank you.
How helpful was this? Good start?
Yeah, really good start.
Okay, awesome. All right, we'll keep it going.
All right.
See you, buddy.
See you.